G'day guys, the channel that never sleeps. That's my new logo, the channel that never sleeps. Well, doesn't sleep very well anyway. I'm here to talk about Elijah Hollands, and it's a beautiful name. It just rolls off the tongue, Elijah Hollands. And if I am the new coach of the Gold Coast Suns, which I'm not, which is Damien Hardwick, I would have already sat this kid down probably after he finished celebrating with the Gold Coast Suns VFL team. And maybe he went and celebrated with them. And I'm saying to this kid, please see out your contract at our football club. Please see out this contract at your football club. At our football club, I will work with you. I want to work with you. And that would be in itself. And I now see this as a bit of a worry for us Carlton supporters and fans who follow the trade period. And for me, watching this kid on the weekend and just watching his games over the last few days, which I've done, but in particular the VFL Grand Final, which I was there live watching at Icon Park, and Damien Hardwick was there as well. I left that game thinking, wow, he can play. Is this the kid that would like to come back to Victoria and be with his younger brother, Ollie? He's at our football club, and come home to his spiritual home, which is the Carlton Football Club. His grandfather, Martin Cross, played 40 games for the club in the early 1960s. So he's got bloodlines here. This is his home. And I thought to myself, wow, if it hadn't been for a 6-goal and 28 possession game by Sean Manor from Werribee, who was simply outstanding, and keep your ears right open for that name over the next 3 or 4 months, because I reckon he should be picked up. He's been just brilliant this year in the VFL. Then Elijah Hollands was clearly the best midfielder on the ground. He was clearly 33 touches and 10 tackles. He was a wrecking machine, but the thing is, I was surprised how much of a wrecking machine he was in this game. It was almost like he was a man possessed in this grand final. The Gold Coast Suns ended up winning their first ever piece of silverware. And I left the ground thinking, we need to do everything to try and facilitate that trade now, and not let it wait until his contract expires. So my thoughts and feelings are at the moment that he'll probably stay just because of the influence of Damien Hardwick. He's a very, very powerful man. And if Damien Hardwick wasn't impressed with that performance by Elijah Hollands, then he's got no idea about the game, which he does. He does. And he'd be just going, mate, just stay. And it's a hard man to say no to, but fuck. If they've got a bit of a squeeze in regards to money and they need to offload, whatever that may be, but all the reports are that they will make it happen, but we'll have to pay. We'll have to pay with a draft pick. He was picked 7 in 220. I'll get to that shortly. I'm thinking end of first rounder. He's only played 14 games in 3 years, and I'm just shaking my head at why he only played 9 games this year. Why only 9? Clearly at the moment behind Noah Anderson is a gun. Didn't he explode this year? Matt Rao, Touk Miller, Sam Flanders is another that's just come on in leaps and bounds, particularly since Stuart Dew left. He's behind in regards to that forward mid-roll, probably behind sort of Rosas and Ainsworth and Humphrey. And he was even getting overlooked by Fiorini and Alice and Swallow, veterans and things as well. So there's always a bit of a risk, but you know, we need to bring in that next layer of midfielder. We're going to lose a little bit over this trade period, like Fisher and Dower look like they're going. Curno's retired, so there's another midfielder. You know, we got question marks on whether Jack Carroll's ever going to make it. We know Lockie Bryan is not going to make it as a winger, but they're still contracted until the end of next year. And guys like Kennedy and Hewitt, they're sort of getting on. They're not old, but they're getting on. So we need to have a plan in place. And at 21 years of age, Elijah Hollins is an absolute gun. A gun. He's just perfect. Perfect. But he's contracted to the end of 2024. He signed a 2-year contract in his second year at the Suns. Pick 7 in 2020 he was. He was touted as a top draft pick, a number 1 draft pick in his bottom age, where he represented the Murray Bush Rangers and also Vic Country. But at the start of 2020, he did his ACL. But that was the COVID effective year in Victoria, where there was no under-18 football at all. So pretty much the recruiters based their picks from Victoria on what the players were like in their bottom age year. So they took a punt. The Gold Coast Suns took a punt on Elijah Hollins at pick 7. But he was coming off that ACL, and he spent the whole of his first year at the Suns pretty much rehabbing until late in the year, where he came and played some VFL, I think. 5 games in his second year, won a NAB Rising Star nomination, and then only 9 games this year. But he exploded in the final series. He exploded in that VFL Grand Final. It was almost like he came of age. It was almost like he was just a man possessed. That 33 touches and 10 tackles. He's dual-sided. He's a little bit bigger than his brother in regards to height. He's around about 6'2". Very good skills, probably better skills than his brother. Very clean below his knees and a very good mark for his size. That's why he can be a dangerous forward at times. He's got decent speed and decent power. He's just a really nice mover, and he's got that beautiful balance of the inside and outside game. I didn't realise he was such a strong tackler. And what we know about the Hollands, particularly Ollie, by watching him this year, and wasn't he just brilliant this year in his first season at the football club, is that they are competitors. They're real competitors. And we need to bring him home, guys. I would be targeting this kid really strongly to bring to the club for 2024. But the big snag is Damien Hardwick. If it was anyone else other than Damien Hardwick, I'd be confident that we could get him. But the fact that he was there watching that game on the weekend, and he just would have been looking at this kid and going, is this the kid that wants to go back to Victoria? He ain't going back. I'm going to fucking work on him over the next few days, and I'm going to make sure he stays here, because that's the type of football that I want at my club. A real competitor. Tell me, do you know anything about this kid yourself? What do we need in this trade period? Who's going to go? Who's going to be delisted? Sam Philp, I think, is gone, guys. Josh Honey's gone. Sam Durden is gone. Ed Curnow and Plowman are retiring. So there's 5. Marchbank and Cunningham, I think, will get contracts. And probably Fisher and Dow will go out. So we will go to the draft. But I think we will at least try and target someone in this trade period. And for me, it's got to be Elijah Hollins. Let's bring the kid home. Tell me what you think.